Okay, let's compare and contrast and talk about these two lenses. We have the 50 millimeter lens by Canon. We have the 70 to 200 millimeter lens by Canon. I have over a decade of professional photography experience. I own and use both these lenses very, very frequently. They are very different lenses though, so I'm going to talk to you about the features in each of them, and then probably most importantly, talk to you about their use cases and when you would want each one. So a couple things to note. First and foremost, these are both L series lenses. It's the highest quality lens that Canon makes. Basically, they use larger, higher quality glass elements within these L series lenses. They have other optical technologies, lens coatings, etc., that make them much better. And I have shot with quite a few other non-L series lenses, and the quality is just significantly better out of L series glass. Now that's about where the commonalities end. Let's start with this 50 millimeter lens. This is a prime lens. You don't get any zoom capabilities. What you see is what you get. Being a prime lens though, it can go to f1.2, which is going to be an extremely shallow depth of field and going to give you that beautiful bokeh effect in your background should you want to shoot at that. The quality of this lens is second to none, as it is with most L series. Now when you're buying this, you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting a prime lens, which is a better quality lens than a zoom lens, meaning if I were to shoot a 50 millimeter image in the 50 millimeter and a 50 millimeter image in the 7200, well, let's say they could actually have the same thing, the image quality of a prime would be better. So you're getting prime quality glass and you're getting L series glass. So if I want to shoot an image at 50 millimeters, this is the very best tool to use on the planet, okay? With that being said, I'm limited because I can only shoot at 50 millimeters. I can't zoom in or out. 50 millimeters would be kind of considered an everyday lens in terms of its perspective. Great for street photography and kind of good for everything else. You can use this for portraits, although it's probably not the best tool for portraits. You can use it for landscapes, although it's probably not the best tool for landscapes in terms of the lens choice, but it's a wonderful lens. Now let's talk about this 7200. First off, you're going to note that it's much bigger. Zoom lenses, telephoto style lenses are going to have that going for them. This lens is very heavy. I can carry it with one hand, don't get me wrong, but it's big and heavy, and I tell you from being a professional who's had this on their camera all day, if you don't learn how to hold this properly, you will have a sore hand at the end of the day, and if you shoot every day like I have done for significant amounts of time, you'll actually develop carpal tunnel because the weight of this and the pressure it puts in your hand. That's not to scare you, it's just to say it's big, it's bulky, and it's heavy. Chances are you're not going to be shooting with it as much as I do, but that's just to give you a story to talk about how heavy it is. Now the weight is justified because it comes with what's called image stabilization technology. This does not. Turn on the image stabilization technology, which is right here, and you can then basically have the image stabilized so that the camera shake that develops from zooming in at this distance is minimized. You have multiple options, which they talk about. I use number one mostly. And this gives you some really great effects because it allows you to minimize the shake and so thus the blur or the softness of a photo. It's absolutely wonderful technology. This is a zoom lens, which means that it can go from 70 millimeters to 200 millimeters, giving you a wide array. I find the vast majority of the time I'm using it is at 200 millimeters. However, being able to back off a little bit to get my subject exactly how I want it is wonderful. As a zoom, it is limited to f2.8, but when you're zoomed in, the telephoto effect makes the background drop off more. And so really at f2.8, you'll notice that the compression of the background looks very similar in bokeh effect to the 51.2 at 1.2. Okay, if that was a lot of tech talk, let's break this down much simpler and more easy to understand. This is a zoom lens, right? And it's a zoom lens that gives you a lot of flexibility because it's a telephoto lens. So it's both zoom and telephoto as opposed to say a 24 to 70 where your zoom features are pretty limited. This will get you in really close to people. This is a fantastic candid photography lens. I use this as a wedding photographer constantly. I have this on one of my cameras pretty much all the time at a wedding because I can snap fantastic candids from a long ways away. No one knows I'm there. You could use this for sports and for wildlife, although if you're really wanting a better lens, you're going to want to go with like a prime lens, and you're going to want to go with like a 400 millimeter perhaps. But this will certainly get the job done. If you want to go shoot your kids' sports, if you want to go shoot motocross or a bike or a running competition or something like that, like this is a great lens for that. It's not a prime lens though, and so you are missing some of the quality that comes with the prime. The 50, like I said, an everyday lens. If you're just venturing off into prime lenses, this is typically the go-to recommendation. It's a perfect first prime lens. It's a fantastic lens. It's an all-purpose lens. You can do almost everything with it. I'd rather have a 24 millimeter prime for landscapes and travel, and I'd rather have an 85 or 135 prime for portraits, but you can get the job done with this. They're both fantastic, fantastic lenses. They're both pricey, but they're both amazing. I hope this has helped.